morning air in the Dakota Territory carried the bitter bite of an early frost, but the chill in Silas Vance's bones came entirely from the parchment notice clutched in his rough, callous palm. Unless he could clear $40 by sundown Friday, the bank in Medora was going to foreclose on the timber mill his father had built with bruised hands, sweat, and broken promises. Silas stood outside the livery yard trying to sell his last remaining asset of real value, a copper-colored stallion named Duke, an animal with a proud, intelligent eye and a stubborn reputation for treating prospective buyers with outright disdain. Silas priced the horse at a desperate $25, half his actual worth, because the clock was running down, and because he flatly refused to lie about a debt that was fast coming due. The morning sun beat down against the weathered boards of the stable as Silas brushed down the restless animal, murmuring quiet reassurances that went mostly ignored. Duke shifted his weight, tossing his mane with a flash of white blazed copper, sensing the frantic desperation humming through his owner's fingers. Around them, the town of Medora was waking up to its usual routine of wagon wheels grinding against red dirt and merchants unlocking heavy wooden doors. Yet none of that noise mattered to Silas. Every tick of the clock brought him closer to the total loss of the only home he had ever known. He had spent 3 weeks trying to find a buyer at the local trading post, but every prospective hand had been chased off by Duke's sharp teeth and unpredictable temper. Just as Silas prepared to accept bitter defeat under the harsh morning sky, an elegant, black lacquered carriage cut smoothly through the dust of the town square, bearing Clara Sterling, the 40-year-old owner of the sprawling Pine Ridge timber estate, clad in deep forest green wool with a gaze as sharp and unyielding as a surveyor's line. Clara stepped down from the carriage and bypassed a dozen easier, more docile mounts without a second glance. When she reached out a gloved hand, Duke, the exact same horse that had bolted from 2 previous wranglers earlier that week, suddenly bowed his head and held steady against her palm. Silas watched in silent astonishment as the notoriously stubborn stallion accepted her touch without a single flinch. Seeing an opportunity born of mutual pragmatism and quiet respect, Clara made a sharp, clean counteroffer that completely altered the trajectory of Silas's life. She offered $50 for the horse outright, plus a full month's standard wages if Silas came along as foreman of her struggling North Camp stables. Silas accepted on the spot, trading his immediate foreclosure panic for 12 miles of travel north into an unfamiliar world of vast timberlands, sprawling corrals, and high-stakes estate management. He packed his meager belongings into a single canvas sack, saddled Duke for final ride out of town, and followed the dark carriage north into the sprawling boundaries of Pine Ridge, entirely unaware of the deep internal rot waiting for him there. Silas arrived at North Camp, a massive, well-stocked estate operated with cold efficiency by Barnaby Thorne, an entrenched manager who treated the property as his own personal empire rather than someone else's investment. The air here smelled heavily of pine resin, damp earth, and the sharp bite of newly cut timber, a sensory weight that immediately told Silas this operation was immense. Thorne met him at the main gate with a narrowed, scrutinizing gaze, looking Silas up and down like a man inspecting a damaged tool he never asked for. They exchanged brief, cool pleasantries before Thorne laid out the boundary lines, pointing toward the east bunkhouse and the sprawling stable blocks tucked behind the main house. Silas quickly established his quiet competence not by forcing authority or barking orders, but through deep, unhurried observation, inspecting stalls, analyzing pasture rotations, and earning the cautious respect of veteran hands like Tom, the weathered head wrangler. During his routine checks of the timber yards and storage ledgers later that week, Silas discovered his first major discrepancy. Shipping logs and freight receipts for timber did not match public auction records from Cheyenne, pointing to a systemic, deliberate pattern of hidden embezzlement. The numbers simply did not balance. Thousands of board feet were unaccounted for. Log is lost to rot or waste, while local market prices told a completely different story. Rather than jumping to conclusions or raising an alarm that would put a target on his back, Silas spent 3 long nights cross-referencing seasonal ledgers under the dim glow of a single tallow candle. He realized that Thorne had been quietly siphoning a small fortune into private pockets, banking on the fact that absentee owners rarely cross-examined every single invoice. Armed with hard numbers that proved Thorne's guilt, Silas sat in the quiet stable office late at night, listening to Duke shift restlessly in the next stall over. He knew he had reached a dangerous crossroads where staying silent meant protecting his own skin, while speaking out meant walking straight into a war. Silas visited Clara in her private study late Thursday evening, stepping softly across the polished wooden floorboard to a room that reflected her disciplined character. Practical bookshelves lined the walls, and the large window faced the stables rather than the distant mountains, laying out the numerical discrepancies plainly and honestly without softening the harsh reality. Silas walked her through the ledger gaps, the mismatched freight receipts, and the Cheyenne auction records. Clara processed betrayal with cold, calm precision, acknowledging her misplaced trust in Thorne with the stoicism of a woman who valued truth far above comfort. Recognizing that Thorne was far too careful to leave open vulnerabilities, Clara quietly dispatched a sealed courier to St. Paul to bring back a federal land auditor, instructing Silas to maintain absolute normalcy around the ranch so as not to tip their hand. Meanwhile, Thorne grew increasingly suspicious of Silas's rising influence among the hands and attempted to intimidate him by demanding his contract be abruptly terminated before the month was out. When Silas refused to back down and calmly insisted on hearing from Clara directly, Thorne realized his control was slipping away and began plotting a desperate, calculated counterattack before the auditor's arrival. With a federal auditor due in days and a coroner manager planning his next move, the tension at Pine Ridge snapped tight, just as 3 prized draft horses suddenly vanished from the south pasture under the cover of night. On the exact morning the federal auditor was scheduled to arrive, Thorne presented himself at the main house with a practiced expression of manufactured grief, claiming the south pasture gate had been left wide open out of sheer carelessness. He pointed a direct finger at Silas's management as the sole cause of the missing livestock. Silas immediately inspected the gate himself, discovering it had been operated by a deliberate double-iron drop latch rather than an accidental failure. Trusting his instincts and ignoring Thorne's threats, Silas tracked the missing animals down to an abandoned logging chute deep in the ravine 2 miles south. There, he uncovered fresh-cut fencing and new rope burns, proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that the theft was an engineered inside job designed to manufacture fake negligence before the audit. Instead of confronting Thorne openly in the yard, Silas brought the physical length of rope and the recovered horses directly to Clara and the federal auditor just minutes before the formal meeting began. With the physical evidence secured and the audit papers laid out on the mahogany desk, Thorne was summoned to the study for a final, inescapable reckoning. Auditor Henderson methodically dismantled Thorne's defense, laying out the forged manifests, the auction discrepancies, and the stage rope with undeniable precision. Cornered with the threat of federal prosecution, Thorne signed a full accounting agreement and permanently withdrew from the property, leaving the estate restored to its rightful order. With the threat cleared, Silas prepared to pack his saddlebags, believing his temporary contract had reached its natural end, but Clara intercepted him at the stables at dusk, offering him a permanent partnership as an equal master of Pine Ridge. Their mutual respect blossomed into a deep, enduring romance. Following a quiet ranch wedding, they boarded the Union Pacific train west toward San Francisco. As the golden plains of Wyoming rushed past the carriage window, Silas realized that true belonging isn't defined by where you started, but by integrity, truth, and standing by what matters. If this story kept you company today, leave a like, subscribe to Sarah's Wild West Chronicles, and tell us in the comments, what are you doing right now while you listen? Until next time, keep writing.